This week on Side Projects, I wanted to take a video of the garden back here for the before and after, because I'm about to do a major overhaul between seasons. So I'm just showing off what I have here. All this is coming out, the cowpeas I mean. Mangoes are doing much better. They were burning for a little while. I don't know if I said that in a previous video, but I planted mangoes and they were burning in the sun. So I put up a couple of things to block the sun during the hottest part of the day. And they are doing much better now. You can see here this leaf here. That got all burnt up, crispy. The whole leaf was completely brown, both of these leaves. But instead of dying, they actually came halfway back. So didn't cut them off, just let them be, and they regenerated quite a bit. Everything's kind of a mess right now because when it's so hot out here, I don't want to come out and cut the grass every week, you know. I've got peanuts in here that I'm gonna try and uproot and see what I got. It's gonna give me an idea of where those are. The second sowing of green beans didn't really produce a whole lot. I got 2 plants here, 2 plants there, 2 over there, 1 there, 1 there. Yeah, so a lot of those green beans did not produce more beans. And it probably has something to do with the previous batch just not producing very well because I planted it by the book instead of how it should have been done. All the sunflower heads are missing, except for one, I think. Yeah, this one right here. Because they all started to rot like this. And once this turns a little bit more, I don't know, yellowy, not even brown really. Once this head kind of pops the rim backwards a bit more and it flattens out, I'll cut this and bring it inside with the rest of them. Yeah, so all these sunflowers are chopped except for a couple of them that were a different variety and have a few flowers still on them. So here I have some cowpeas that I ripped out. Got a lot more to go through, but these leaves are edible. They're a little hard to chew, so if you don't have good teeth, that's not a good idea, but they have a very high protein content for leafy green. And I'm just gonna cut them up into this box and then go cook them. They need to be a little bit cooked. They're a bit sour. I'm not sure if they have a toxin in them, but after cooking them, they become sweet. So that suggests that they've got some sort of toxin until you heat them up. Boil them for 5 minutes or so. What's up, you got something to say? Huh? Punk? What was that? Oh, that's a good boy. Okay, so after washing and processing the cowpeas, I cooked them probably about 5 to 10 minutes. And then I put them into a blender, blended them up, stuck them in cups, put them in the freezer. And now I have individual servings here. And these are really probably more like 3 to 4 servings of vegetables, maybe even more. But I've got quite a few of them. And my blender couldn't take it all, so I left some of them as leaves. But cowpeas preserved for a couple of months of use at least. So we can see here on the habaneros that from the experiment that The ones that are just in sand stayed smaller. The ones that are fully in topsoil type composted material also stayed a little smaller. These two were in full composted material and they got to be mid-size. But then the ones that grew the tallest, the largest by far, those are planted in a soil and compost mixture. It's a sandy soil, and I think the sandy soil was allowing them to gather their water while the composted materials were allowing them to get their nutrition. And because of that, the 4 that are planted that way grew exceptionally tall. Even with a larger growing area, the all sand mixtures still did not grow too much bigger, though that one seems to be on par with these smaller containers with the mixture. And this one, which was given a slightly larger space, also had a mixture and grew larger than the rest of them. So it's pretty clear, the results. All right, so what I've got here for ant traps is bottles with caps on with holes drilled in the sides. I have hot glue over this as a hood so that water doesn't get in. Now, that worked for some of these, but it didn't work for all of them, so I'm going to make a different hood here. Inside, you can see this substance here, very sticky. It's a borax and sugar mixture. Ants can't smell borax, but they can smell sugar and they want it, so they'll take this back to their colony, hopefully. Because it's a gel, I'm not sure if they're going to be capable of taking it back to the colony, so I put some grit down here that the borax can absorb into a bit, and that's what each of these are made of. Now, for the hood, I've taken some regular Solo cups, and I've cut them to a size so that I can fit it over with a little hot glue and just put it on top of the cap here. I'll just put a little dab of glue on each of these caps, and then I'll put this guy over it. And what that'll do is that when I bury this in the ground, because I'm going to bury it about, this deep, when I bury it in the ground, this will protect it from getting rain inside so that these can last longer. So our sunflower seeds have been drying for a little while, and I've pulled a few of them out. But you can see here, I've got them all in little bags. And so now they're totally dry. All the ends are brown, and it's time to pull the seeds out. Now, this is what happens if you don't bring them inside early enough. Squirrels eat them, and bugs too. But it looks like the heads kind of like curl backwards to allow all the seeds to come out, and the ones in the center start to mature a bit too. All right, so I cut them all down. And it doesn't look like much right now, but it will in a couple minutes when I've taken the seeds out. You can see that some of these were developing some mold on the back. Even though this is in the house, it's still kind of in a wet room, so that's part of the problem. And then I think I left them up for too long, and I didn't have paper bags, so I had to use plastic. But the seeds seem to be okay. That's more what I'm worried about. So now I'm going to take some of them out. I'm going to be sure to take some from this kind of middle zone here on the largest ones, and that's what I'm going to use to plant the next generation of sunflowers. All right, so here we've got some purple seeds for sprouting and some of my light white colored seeds for sprouting. Everything's all nice and dry. I can't sprout yet. I need to clear up the garden bed, but I also brought over the stems and the sunflower heads to try and make some pretty smells in the air. So here I've got a couple of them boiling, and they're making a very nice light sunflower scent. The smoke is actually a little yellow. And then in this pot I have some pink Himalayan salt, making a salt brine, and I'm going to pour it in this, which is my edible seeds. I'm going to salt brine these and then roast them up tomorrow.